This episode of the Boss Rush Podcast is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn more about Boss Rush Media's family of podcasts, head on over to bossrushmedia.com or patreon.com/bossrushmedia. Thanks for your continued support. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Boss Rush Podcast, a great place to play games and be better. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Derrigan, alongside me, as always, is the mad pharmacist herself, Stephanie Klimov. And we can't hear you because I muted you both before we started recording.
What a jerk!
I know.
That's it.
I'm mean.
I was going to say how excited I was to be here, but now I'm no longer excited because Corey is a poop head.
That's fine. I've been called worse. Also joining us is PK Power, Pat Klein.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say also a poop head. Here's PK Power, Pat Klein.
I wouldn't do that to you, Pat.
No. What a nice guy, Corey.
I know. See, Steph, I'm a nice guy. That's what Pat said. And Pat knows everything. Pat knows all.
It is true. I do know all.
No LeRon tonight. LeRon is
Saving the world.
Yep. Saving the world. We're also saving the world, guys.
Mm-hmm. If he doesn't do it now, someone will create Skynet and we'll all be bombed by the Terminators.
Well, Skynet is actually closer than you think, if you want to believe some of the things some people in this world are working on. So,
I love how people are working on that, but no, let's not prioritize a cure for cancer. Let's not prioritize saving the world from global warming. But building something like Skynet, sure.
Yeah.
But we are proving creating a bomb that's 24 more times more powerful than Hiroshima.
Oh, yeah, that too. Because we needed
one. That.
Like, what?
Why not?
Gosh.
Yeah. What if China revolts? What are we going to do?
If the U.S. goes down, we're taking the world with us.
I was going to say, we're just going to blow the world up. Okay.
I think that's how this works. I think that's the whole purpose of these is the retaliation. It's not to prevent war. It's just to be like, fuck you when you lose.
Yeah. That's just life, though.
Bunch of
fuck you.
Bunch of political dudes in power trying to show off how big their dick is.
It's just like in Halo, where those people that when you kill them, they drop a grenade right that very second.
The kamikaze grunts.
Yeah. That's how it works. That's the whole.
And then their head explodes and confetti comes out if you have the right skull on.
Mm-hmm.
And you hear a bunch of kids cheering. Yay! It's so good, man. Well, how's everyone's week going? Everybody okay? Everybody surviving out there?
Halloween was fun.
Halloween was fun.
It was cold.
Yeah.
It snowed.
Yeah, it did snow here last night too.
Oh.
There's still snow on the ground. It did not melt.
Yeah, most of it melted, but like in the corners where like the sun doesn't hit, there's still sun there or still snow there. So my car was covered in snow this morning. I had to like wipe it off with a scraper.
Oh,
it was
man.
awful.
Corey, what'd your kids dress up as?
Well, we spent all this money on cool new costumes, and by we I mean my wife did. On my son, we bought him like a Buzz and a Buzz Lightyear and a Spider-Man costume. And every time we went to put him on, he would freak out. And so he wore his Woody costume from last year, which is way too small, but he wouldn't wear anything else. So, and then my daughter, like for different things, she wore different costumes. But when we went like trick-or-treating for the main trick-or-treating, she wore her costume from last year as well, which is Mirabelle from Encanto. So,
yeah.
But she was Elsa for her school parade, and then she went as Anna at one point, I think, to ballet. I don't know. She wore all three costumes at some point.
Nice. She made up.
There's a lot of Halloween around here, so it's hard to keep track.
Nice. Pat, what was Zelda for Halloween?
Yeah.
Oh, Zelda? She was a calico kitten.
Aww.
I thought you were gonna say. You're gonna say she was Navi or something.
The Princess
No,
of
she was
Hyrule.
cute.
Hey, listen.
Mm-hmm. Zelda.
Man, that should be a topic one day. Is the best Zelda companion?
Mm.
That one right there.
Oh, look! She's looking at the camera. Hi.
Yep.
She's like, cords, chew. I must.
She was already trying to chew the cords earlier.
Oh, she's getting so big.
I don't want her to get big. She's 2 years old. She shouldn't be getting big. She should be that right size.
Yeah. Well, they all have to grow up.
No. She's going to be petite.
Yep.
Yeah. So it was fun. I did the whole Master Koga thing, and Nikolai was Link, and it was a great time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Your mask turned out good, by the way.
Thank you. All homemade. So because I didn't really have the finances to buy like I did last year. I bought Majora's Mask last year, and that one was a wooden mask. So
maybe if you didn't buy all these consoles this year.
Yeah,
games.
that's I know that's my fault.
All the spooky games you supposedly don't like.
Well, I was doing fine until the hospital where I had my procedure decided to send me a $2,700 bill.
Yeah, that's fair.
That kind of was the tipping point. I was doing okay before that happened. Whoops.
That's after insurance.
After insurance. Woo.
Think about all the money your insurance saved you.
Yeah. But I'm not here to complain about the healthcare system in America. We're here to talk about video games.
No, I want to complain about the healthcare system in America. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
That's maybe for Brad. I don't know.
Oh, gosh. So, Stephanie, I'm going to start with you. What are you playing?
I'm playing Alan Wake 2. And I'm interested to see. Well, I mean, Pat and I have been kind of texting him, so I kind of feel like I know how he feels about the game. But I love it. It is leaps and bounds better than the first game. I mean, not just technologically wise, because 13 years and we would expect it to be modernized, and I believe it does. The dodging is there. I don't know how to dodge because I still keep getting hit, but it's responsive. So the problem is now a me problem, not a game problem. It is so meta. The combination. I mean, they did do this in the first game, but they leaned harder on like real actors in certain cutscenes. You know what I'm saying? Like because it's like messing with my head. Like, oh, this is real, but it's not real. And I really love the direction that they took. How you go back and forth between the FBI agent Saga and Alan Wake. And by the way, Pat, when you said about looking into the pool of water to switch between, the reason why I didn't know about it is because I didn't get there yet. That's why I was like, "What are you talking about?"
Well, yeah, you get the first 3 chapters of Saga, then you get the first 3 chapters of Alan, and then they go back to Saga and they say you can look at the pools of water to switch between characters.
Yeah, I was on that final chapter of Alan's story before that happened. I'm like, what is he talking about? Anyway, a lot of Control references. I've never played Control, but it's like that shit's everywhere. No, but
it's a pseudo sequel to Control.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. The gameplay seems pretty solid to me. There is no inanimate objects attacking me. But the most interesting part, and it took me a while to kind of get a handle on it, is both Alan and Saga have a similar like workspace where the FBI you have a case board, and for Alan it's like a writing board, and you need to take elements that you experience in your game and put it all together. And it's just really fun and a nice touch to the sequel that I think makes it better. So my experience with Alan Wake 2 is so much different than the first Alan Wake. I'm really loving it. I'm very into it. Music's really good too.
Did you play Alan Wake Chapter 4?
Like his chapter 4?
You would have known his, that, like, did you go back and to Alan's world and try his Chapter 4?
No, not yet. I did Saga first.
Okay.
I'm at where she goes to the I want to go to Watery first.
Yeah.
And I need to find a way to stop the janitor from singing. Remember he's singing and you need to find like details in the Watery town? I don't know what to do there. No one's talking to me.
You don't need to stop him from singing.
Oh. All right. Well, I got to look up what to do. Like I'm running around town and there's nothing like actionable for me to do. So I probably overlooked something.
Is it the same janitor?
Yeah, it's
yes,
the same janitor.
It is Ati the janitor.
Nice.
Our Finnish friend.
Pat, I could also just be a really bad player. That's why I ended up pulling up the guide, because I feel that I could get through Alan Wake 2 without one if I just want to mainline it. But there's so many things that I really don't want to miss, like the ripped up manuscript pages that I could use to power up my weapons, the echoes that Alan Wake collects, and the stupid circle of yellow words that you can use to upgrade Alan. Like all those things I don't want to miss. So I'll use the guide for that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it. My son still has commandeered Mario Wonder, so I've seen him play it, and I help him on the difficult levels, and that's fun too. So that's what I've been playing.
Nice.
The only reason that's acceptable is because he's not playing Minecraft right now.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Is that all you've been playing?
That's all I've been playing. That's all time I had to play.
Got to get those numbers up.
Yep.
I mean, to be fair, I haven't really been playing that much either. But I think I'm actually on the last boss of the Spider-Man DLC, like all of it, because I'm fighting Hammerhead on top of a Sable's ship.
You're at the last one.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at. So I will have that beaten probably tonight, actually, now. And then I'll start on Miles Morales, which I hope to have beaten by the time we reconvene next week. Because I hear that game's pretty short, especially if you mainline it. So I'm not trying to get the platinum or anything. But
you have to play it twice to get the platinum.
What? Miles
Morales? Yeah.
Oh, I'm talking about this one. I don't really care about platinum trophies. But I've also been playing a little bit of Mario Wonder. It's pretty good. I haven't found that, oh my gosh, this is the best Mario game ever moment that people keep talking about. But so far, I'm really enjoying it. I love 2D Mario games. I feel like this is a natural evolution of the new Super Mario Brothers games, which I love.
Question.
Yeah.
How do you, and the question goes for you too, Pat, how do you feel about the aspect of the game where you get hit by an enemy and you don't die? Because that, for the longest time in 2D Mario, I mean, I'm talking about the OGs, I guess. You get hit, you shrink to your original size. You get hit a second time, and it's game over.
Mm-hmm.
This time, my son's like, look, I can keep getting hit. Because, like, when I was playing...
Who's he playing as?
Who's he playing as?
Oh, Yoshi.
Yeah, Yoshi can't die.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yoshi and Nabbit are easy mode.
Yeah.
Got it. I know when I saw that, I'm like, how's nobody pissed about this? It's the character.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Yeah. The downside is he's not going to be able to have abilities.
Yeah.
Yes, I noticed that.
There's no Elephant Yoshi.
Yeah. Well, that would be really weird. All right. Thank you. That makes sense. Because for him, that's fine. But like when I was playing it, he was asking me why I was like so careful to avoid the enemies. I'm like, well, you get hit, you die. He goes, no, you don't. Okay.
Now you can rub it in your son's face and be like, ha! You're playing easy mode. Play real Mario like a man.
Yeah. Get good, bro.
I have to say, I don't think the elephant suit is very fun. I think it's kind of dumb.
Did you notice that the music changes when you're in elephant mode?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
More trumpet?
I think it changes with most of the suits. Because there's like a little
about the other ones.
There's a little change when you put the fire suit on. It's not very noticeable. Because I didn't notice it until I put it on the TV and I was actually playing with, sound. But yeah, I mean it's great. And this is going to go into our main topic later, which is like hyperbole in video games, but and you're seeing a lot of it, especially this year when everybody's like, they play the next game and like, this is game of the year, and then the next game comes out, this is game of the year, and next game comes out, this is game of the year, and this has been happening for like a decade, and I'm like, guys.
I know, even like when Alan Wake 2 came out, I was not expecting people to say this. Not like, this could be game of the year. I'm like, really? And not that I disagree. I actually am liking to the point where like I could see it, but like I thought we were done with that conversation.
Yeah, especially because like the first one was not like, it didn't sell very well initially. It didn't sell over 1 million copies, so it came to PC like a year later.
Well, yeah, I thought it was more of like I don't want to call it a cult favorite, no pun intended, but
I would call it that.
Okay, so you know what I'm saying? Like a good game, but not game of the year material, and all of a sudden, Alan Wake 2, I think there should be game of the year. I'm like, okay, join the other dozen that are game of the year contenders this year.
Yeah. So far, like, I don't think Mario Wonder is going to be anywhere near my game of the year at this point. But
it'll going to be family game of the year.
Yeah. I mean, it'll make my top 10 list for sure, but like, I don't know if it'll crack the top 5.
Is it your favorite 2D Mario, or is there another one that's taking that spot?
I don't know if I've played enough to say that or not. I mean, my favorite 2D Mario is Mario 3. Or, well, I think Mario 3 is the best one. My favorite is actually Mario 2. But I don't know. I feel like, to me, I don't feel any different from playing New Super Mario Brothers, except like Mario is not as like slidey. Like the physics are a little bit different. They're tighter, and like I like that. But I don't know. I know nobody played New Super Mario Brothers U, but it feels like the natural progression of that. Now the art is amazing. Like the art is awesome.
We have New Super Mario U Deluxe.
I do. I played it on the Wii U when it came out, though.
I have the Deluxe.
I'm saying initially nobody played it, so everybody thought it sucked just because it was on the Wii U, and then when it came to Switch, everybody started playing it and loved it. So I don't know. Same with almost every Wii U game, except for Wind Waker. So yeah, that's all I've been playing. I will probably have a better verdict in the next couple weeks of Mario Wonder, but so far it's like, it's great. Don't get me wrong, it's a great game. It's a very great Mario game, but to me, all 2D Mario games, most of the 2D Mario games are great. So,
well, thanks a lot, Corey. Now someone's going to put a review on Apple Podcasts and give us like a 1 out of 5 because we did not say that Mario Wonder is the best game ever.
That's fine. I mean, I also complained about Alan Wake for a month and a half, so.
Dude, you wouldn't shut up about it.
You know what would have made Mario Wonder even better? The Koopa kids.
Oh, that would have been fun.
But I say that about every 2D Mario game. I'm like, where are the Koopa kids?
They've been disowned. They've been shunned.
I know. It's always Bowser Jr. It's like, dude, give me the Koopa kids.
Yeah.
Hey, before we get to Pat, I did forget my show and tell. So if I could just quickly show it.
Nope, too late.
One of my many coffee talk. Shout out to Serenity Forge. I know we did a Spotlight 1v1 with the CEO of Serenity Forge. So I got this like Coffee Talk 1 and 2 collector's edition. This is like, what do you call it? Like a diorama. You can like change the people whenever you want. And I got the physical copy of Coffee Talk 1 and 2. And then I got a little badge. And I got a ginormous coffee cup. And I got a Coffee Talk like comic book. This is one of the few like collector's editions. I'm like, wow, I actually got good, cool stuff.
I thought there was more that came with that. Like, wasn't there supposed to be a tea, like an actual thermos, or I don't know.
No, well,
I might be thinking of a different, and a tote bag. Wasn't there?
Oh yeah, and I got a tote bag. Sorry, it's not with me because I used it. I got it that tote bag. Love it. It's a big cup. All right, sorry.
But is it big enough to hold all the coffee you need?
Yeah, I better. Anyway, sorry, I just want to throw that in there.
Nice. Good job, Steph.
You need to get some Toge people back, or even on. They'd be fun.
Yeah, I've definitely toned down on buying all these like cool physical stuff because of said bills. So all the stuff I'm getting in now are things that I've ordered like a year ago and forgot about because things take forever. And it's not, I mean, sometimes it's not, their fault, but like, you won't get me started with limited run. I have like 4 things I've been waiting on. So
Nice.
no more buying.
Yeah, no more buying for a while.
Until next week.
What's next week? Mario RPG is 2 weeks. What's next week? Call of Duty's next week.
The man who erased his name is next week.
Oof.
Call of Duty is also next week. Not that I care, but Pat, you're up.
All right. So, game 38 of 40, Super Mario Wonder. I beat it the day after we finished recording the last podcast because I figured I was 3 levels away, and I was right. Gotta say, this was a very fun Bowser fight. I'm not going to tell you what it was, but it's probably one of my favorite Bowser fights.
Ooh,
it was pretty. It was pretty fun. I like what they did with it. So, but yeah, overall, like I absolutely love the game. I do think it's the best of the 2D Marios. I haven't fully completed the game. There is
so how can you say it's the best?
The super secret level at the very end. There's a super secret level where it switches the badge ability that you have. So it's like a huge gauntlet, but it switches what badge you're wearing to fit whatever part of the level you're in. And it is hard as hell because it's nonstop. One move basically makes you dead. And it's super long with like checkpoints nowhere close to each other. So it's hard. I figured I'd give it a shot until I lost all my lives, and then I'm like, okay, time to move on to something else.
Nice.
But overall, great game. Like I got all the purple coins, and I got all the Wonder Seeds as well.
Nice.
Yep.
Good job.
Thank you. All right, so let me dive into. Damn it! I could have used that for another pun later. Let me talk about Alan Wake 2. So, Alan Wake 2 is, I'd have to go with what Stephanie said. The game is nothing like Alan Wake 1. This game improved Alan Wake 1 in almost every single regard.
It's hard to go backwards.
It is hard to go backwards. Yeah.
I kid, everybody. Shut up.
I would say my biggest complaint is the game's antagonist. They bring back Mr. Scratch from the DLCs and American Nightmare, but it's a very different version of Mr. Scratch. You've seen Mr. Scratch, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's basically Patrick Bateman from American Psycho. If you've seen that movie.
Nope.
Okay. He has a clear textbook definition of a psychopath where he's like very unpredictable. He cares only for himself. He's a murderous son of a bitch. And that was what Mr. Scratch was in like the last few games. But in this one, he's just ragey. Like he hardly speaks a damn thing, and he's just more like it's like, dude, what the fuck?
Question. I mean, maybe I'll find out, but like when you reference Mr. Scratch, because to where I am in the story, Alan Wake is saying the dark presence is Mr. Scratch. In the DLC, is that the same reasoning? Like Mr. Scratch is also a dark presence, or is this...
The DLC almost made Mr. Scratch and the Dark Presence 2 separate things, but it sounds like they are indeed one and the other. Like, it is... The Dark Presence is the form where it's not a form.
Right.
And when it does take a form, it takes the form of Alan Wake and Mr. Scratch.
Okay. So maybe the DLC was of the real Mr. Scratch, and this is just a...
Well, technically, you defeat Mr. Scratch in American Nightmare, but it's still American Nightmare is also not considered canon.
Oh.
So,
Interesting. Okay.
So that I guess they just kind of took a different approach with Mr. Scratch and made him more mindless taken than psychopathic, like charismatic Alan Wake.
The former sounds more interesting.
I sent you a video that Remedy made for the accolades when they did American Nightmare. It is where the character plays Mr. Scratch, and he's basically at Remedy's office, and he's reviewing slides of like what people said about the game. I mean, that's spot on what Mr. Scratch was. But yeah, the gameplay is very crazy. There's a lot of unexpected things that happen. And like I highly recommend jumping into Alan Wake Chapter 4. Just because I can't.
All right, I'll
it
do
is
that
probably
next.
the most different part of the game by far.
Ooh, okay.
Other things I really like about this game is that they brought back my favorite side characters, and they have such a strong presence in the story this time. The old gods of Asgard. It's a pair of old geriatric rockers, and they were kind of hilarious just because they usually were like high or drunk, and they were loud, and they just didn't like really play along with the darkness during like Alan Wake's one time, and they're also voiced by band members of Poets of the Fall, which is a Finnish band that I've actually really gotten into now that I played Alan Wake because they got some really good music. And so they've added several new songs to this game as well that played during certain parts of the game. And they're good songs too, all three of them that I've experienced so far. But they also have a deeper part into Saga's side of the story. So the collectibles are not as fun to collect in this one, I think. There's 3 primary collectibles. You have lunchboxes, cult caches, and what's the third one? I'm drawing a blank here.
Not the dolls, right?
Oh, nursery rhymes.
Oh, the nursery. Well, yeah, that's related to the dolls, yeah.
Yeah, the dolls. They're okay. You want to do them so that you get the supplies that come with it. But they're very out of the way. Like this is you typically do a mission, and then once you solve whatever's going on in that part of the story, then you kind of have like a free option to go around and go back and explore. And so it doesn't feel paced quite as well. You almost want to just keep going into the story, but you also need to go around and try and find these things.
Yeah,
that would probably be another moment for me. And that's more on Saga's side. Alan's got a lot tighter of a map. I feel like Saga's story is bigger than Alan's. Like she's got multiple sections where Alan's kind of stuck in this dark world, New York City. But overall, the gameplay is solid. It's the combat's a lot more tighter. There's not a whole lot of combat actually compared to the first one too. Like you'll find a couple fallen here and there, but they don't like constantly respawn and like attack you like they did in the first one.
Sometimes,
which could be a good thing.
Sometimes,
yeah.
And also, I have to keep reminding myself that if I'm pulling up the map or something, you can still get attacked. And I was like, damn it, leave me alone.
Yeah, you literally have to have the game on pause to not have them attack you unless you're in a break room.
Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if it'll necessarily be my game of the year only because there's so many other great games, but I would say it's definitely high up there on the games that I've enjoyed this year, for sure.
Oh, yeah, totally. It's, again, like, I don't know if there are a lot of great games, so I don't even know if this breaks my top 5, but that's saying it's up there. It's pretty high. There was one more thing I was going to say about this that I'm trying to remember. Yeah. Yeah, I can't think of it offhand, but if I do, I'll probably interrupt someone and be like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah, please do.
that's
I do miss the
move."
collecting of the coffee thermoses, because the first time I saw a coffee thermos when I was with Saga, I'm like, oh, here it is. But it's just a saving thing. I'm like, damn it, I want to pick up a thermos.
The how Saga and Alex Casey drink the coffee at the same time is just
Yes.
weird.
It's weird, but I love it. I don't know why I love it. It's just like that uncanny, creepy thing. And was it the
Yeah.
last podcast, or was it us texting? Like, it still like gets like, I still am mind blown that Sam Lake's face is on that FBI agent, and it's like a different voice, but still, I'm.
You know what? This is like another throwback to Matt. This one's a throwback to Max Payne, because it's the exact same duo that does Alex Casey as was the duo that did Max Payne. The original Max Payne for the PS2 was Sam Lake as a body, and then the voice of Max Payne was someone else, and it's the same voice actor who does Alex Casey, but it's Sam Lake's body. Just like Alan Wake has one character that's actually like his motion actor, but the voice that does him, and you might occasionally see him in like a very brief glimpse in a cutscene or his face on a book. If you do see it, it's Dr. Darling from Control. That is the actual voice of Alan Wake, but you don't see him in this game.
What are like? Stephanie walked away. So what are some of the things from Control you've seen so far?
FBC has a huge presence in this game.
I've heard
the nursery rhymes are trying to take effect of the ongoing AWE that's in Bright Falls, which using art to warp reality. And Ati is actually got a pretty decent role in this game. He shows up quite often. And if you played Control, you know Adi is not normal.
No, he's very not.
He knows things. He's everywhere where he needs to be.
That's very true.
So there's quite a bit. I haven't seen Jessie at all. I don't know if she's in the game. Probably not. It's a different agent.
Yeah.
That has the FBC going around. I think Jessie's still trapped in the old house.
Yeah, I wonder if Alan Wake gets DLC that they'll meet again.
Well, they did promise 2 DLC packs.
Yeah. I wonder if one's called the Control Experience.
I don't know.
Since that's one in Control is called the AWE Experience.
Yep. The Altered World event. Oh, do you mean the Alan Wake expansion?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the wordplay there.
Yeah.
But it's very possible this game further cements that all of Remedy's games are tied together. Even what's its name? Iceman is in the game. Sean Ashmore, is he? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Who played
it's his brother. It's his brother, his twin brother in Quantum Break.
Okay, yeah, it's he's also in this game.
Yeah.
But he isn't that character.
Yeah. Let's see. Sean Ashmore. Well,
I thought it was Sean.
Maybe it is. Yeah. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, he plays a sheriff that's also drawn into the dark worlds. But he's like obsessed with trying to find this guy named Mr. Door.
Oh, he's the one that he's humming, right? And you go find him, and
yeah, he's the main character from Quantum Break, or at least it. Yeah, even though that's not his character, it's like the same guy.
Oh my gosh, I'm loving this.
I wonder if that's just a Dark World thing, and that maybe they'll try to connect us to Quantum Break once Microsoft gives them back the IP.
That's a good question. Like I was thinking maybe it was something with Quantum Break, but I looked into it. It's like, no, this guy is the sheriff of Bright Falls, trapped in the dark place. But he's like obsessed with trying to find this guy named Mr. Door for some reason.
I'm just thinking out loud. Like, I wonder if they'll like connect it somehow to Quantum Break, and then because like Microsoft, I think the Alan Wake when Remedy bought Alan Wake back from Microsoft, it was 10 years. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if that's like some sort of thing with Quantum Break at some point.
I feel like Microsoft would not hold that.
Yeah.
You know, like if Microsoft seems more like if Remedy wanted to actually like came up with an idea like, hey, we'd like to buy the property back. This is our plan. I'm sure Microsoft would be like, go for it.
Yeah, especially because Microsoft has enough IP now to handle between all 736 studios they own now.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, but yeah, great game, loving it. Great music, great soundtrack. It's awesome. Oh, it's scary too. That's what I wanted to say. The game's freaky, and there are some real like jump scare moments later on in the game.
Oh, great.
Yep.
I don't like jump scares.
You know what's funny is that the jump scares are also in the same place as some of the best comedy in the game too. So it's like it's the perfect balance of like it's in a nursing home, so you'll have some crazy old timers, but you'll also have some jump scares that take place around there too.
Whoa, I don't like that.
Yeah, you do. It'll be fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'll be fine because I'll have a guide to tell me when the jump scare is.
No,
just turn the lights out and put on your headset.
No,
turn it up all the way. It'll be fine.
I already get jump scared, not that it's scary, but just because of the suddenness. Is like in every once in a while, if you walk into like a place and you get the flashes of like, I don't know, the gray and the scream.
Yeah, the gray and the scream.
Yeah, I'm like, stop it. It's not even scary. It's sudden. I'm like, ah.
Yeah, those are more of the jump scares I'm talking about. But
okay.
It's a different person that's screaming, and it really catches you.
Got it.
Yeah. All right. So the next game I want to quickly dive into is Dave the Diver.
Dave the Diver.
Clearly the game of the year.
Did it make a big splash for you?
Oh man, it got me wet and then some.
Oh
God.
I keep wanting to go deeper and deeper into the big blue hole.
Oh God.
Too
far. Help.
No, it's a fun game. The really cool thing about Dave the Diver is that there is always something different going on. Like they introduce new things, and then they keep introducing more like unique like ideas into this game. It starts off as a guy who he hires his old friend Dave the Diver to go explore this. Well, first he invites him over to sushi. And so Dave's like, oh, yeah, I won't turn down sushi. So he flies halfway around the world for the sushi.
Wow.
And then he finds out that he has to fish the fish himself and get the supplies for the sushi bar. And then somehow you end up being the manager of the sushi bar. So not only do you fish the fish during the daytime, you now have to manage the sushi bar at nighttime. And then somehow your life gets sold into this archaeologist who's like, I want to study sea people. And now you have to, do that or else face like lawsuits for breaking contract that you never signed.
Well, sounds like everyday life.
Yep. And then there's things going on the restaurant side, like food critics that you want to please. And eventually you have to start hiring staff so that, because there are times where I have like 10 people show up at the restaurant at once, and it's like you can't please them all just by yourself. But luckily the game's never like overwhelming. Like as long as when you're doing your ocean dives and you're exploring, doing your objectives, you shoot a few fish along the way so that you have some meat for the sushi place during the nighttime. You get a constant flow of income, which you then is used to upgrade your suit, upgrade your weapons. There are a lot of weapons in this game, including a guy that's like one of those weeboos, or what you call, the really Japanese guys. They're like, hey, I'm the smartest person in the whole world, but I really like 2D boobies. One of those kind of guys. with the neckbeard and like glasses, and
Oh my
the,
god,
the typical stereo Japanese guy.
it's racist.
Yeah, he makes weapons for you.
Nice.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. So lately at night, I play like a few days worth of just kind of exploring and accomplishing objectives and seeing where else the story goes.
Wow, I'm kind of almost a little bit more sold now. Now that I know it's more than just making sushi. That's pretty cool.
No, no, the sushi is just primarily there so that you can make money, buy some more suits, so you can dive deeper into the blue hole.
I wonder if this will be a contender for indie game of the year. Is this considered indie?
Mm-hmm.
It is indie.
It might be.
It could be. There's a hell of a lot of other contenders out there for it.
Yeah.
But it would be one of those that it's really fun.
It's out on Switch now, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think it came out last week.
Last week.
I must.
That's why I'm talking about it this week.
Stop buying games.
Mm-hmm. All right, that's it for games right now. But I did watch the first episode of the Silent Hill Ascension project, and let me tell you, it is a fucking disaster.
Not unlike the games.
It's fans are pissed off right now. They're saying this is like
slap in the
literally
face.
dragging a slap in the face, but it's a slap in the face with a dick that hasn't been washed for like 2 weeks, and and by slapping it in the face, you literally set it on fire.
Ooh.
Yeah, fire.
This is the one where like the viewers choose the outcome or something?
Yep. The idea behind Silent Hill Ascension is that it's a 16-week project where viewers have a say in how the game goes, and once it's done, that is the canon for that story. How it works is that viewers have the ability to, they have 3 choices. They have a redemption choice, a suffered choice, and a damnation choice upon a character's actions. And that will affect how a scene plays out later on in some way or another. The very first choice was, they start off in the very beginning before, the thing even started. You had a quick choice of, do you tell this person to finish off a ritual, tell her to run, or tell her something else? That's the damnation choice. And honestly, she died immediately regardless, and everyone chose redemption choice. So I don't think redemption necessarily means you're saving them.
Now, question, how are people making these choices live?
What you do is that you get points. You get influence points. And by spending 200 points, you can put in a vote.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is one of the things that is pissing off people, is that there's a monetized factor in this as well.
There it
where
is.
if you pay $20, you can get these games that, they're these cell phone games that you can play that can help you build up your influence points or to build up a hope meter for the characters. And those who put more money into it, you can also buy these points separately, are said to be able to influence it more than someone who's just watching it.
Got it.
So
okay.
A lot of people are pissed off about that. And then, so that's one part, is watching these stories unfold. Then there's also an endurance sequence, they call it, which is quick time events that, again, you can either use your cell phone if you have the app, or you can use your PC. And you literally have to, you and the audience are going through this quick time event, a very long quick time event, watching this person try to run away from some really cool looking demons, to be perfectly honest. That's probably the only good thing this thing has going for it, is the monster design is pretty cool. But everyone botched the first quick time. The whole community failed that one. It wasn't very responsive at all, and I feel like people could be watching it and not clicking it, which would then, hurt that character more. The idea behind these endurance scenes is if you do good, the person's hope meter gets better, and they're more likely to survive something that happens. Whereas if you fail, their hope meter decreases, and they're less likely to survive, during certain events.
That's unfortunate. It seemed like there was a lot of potential, but a lot of room for error, and unfortunately, it seemed like it went to the latter. And this is going to
the
go
whole
on
monetizing it
Yeah.
was just, it pissed off people greatly.
Do you think they would ever roll that back, the monetizing part?
Too late. It's too late to do that.
Oh, okay.
It's already implemented the things going on. I don't think they'd be able to roll it back now.
Got it.
Also, the graphics really aren't that good. Like, it honestly looked like someone running like really slowly. The character models are fine, but when it comes to like action, it's like almost watching the action on a PS3, but with like really good graphics. Like, I don't know. It's literally like watching someone play a video game. In fact, there are even load screens that take place. It's like, I'm watching this, but I'm not playing it. It's weird.
Okay.
That's gross.
Yeah. But maybe it was just a rocky start. Maybe it'll get better, and they'll like the interface. Also, the UI is just, it's cluttered. Doesn't really work too well. It's not good. So hopefully they can fix it in the next 15 weeks here. The content is daily. Like, I think they said there's usually one big episode, but then like there's like 10-minute episodes each day that takes place around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock Eastern time.
Interesting.
Yeah, but it's probably not the best way to reboot the whole Silent Hill franchise.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it.
No. In fact, I don't even know if I want to keep watching it.
That's sad.
I don't know.
That sucks.
I'm not impressed.
Definitely not the start the Silent Hill franchise needs to get rejuvenated. Sorry.
Yeah, it hopefully, because Bloober has Silent Hill 2, that one's not going to be horrible.
Right.
But then again, now it seems like Konami, with all their good intentions, usually just finds a way to be like, we want money. Like, by taking their games and turning them into pachinko machines, or monetizing a full motion video.
Oh, Konami.
What happened to your glorious days, Konami?
Yeah, they didn't find their footing, kind of like how Capcom did, for example, for Resident Evil. They turn things around and find ways to refreshen the franchise the right way.
No, Konami says we want to make a quick buck, and so they stopped making video games and they went to mobile, and then they stopped that, and they went to pachinko machines. And whenever they want to revisit a franchise, they literally just move a port with like no updates. Hence Metal Gear Solid Collection.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's a good point.
I hear bad things about that too.
It's amazing how much, like, when Capcom or when Konami touches something now, it just poisons it.
That's so sad.
Yeah.
Man.
Anyways, that's what I played and watched.
Nice. Well, I guess we should get into some of our topics, huh?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So this shorter news topic, we've talked about this 1,000 times, but this one, at least for me,
keeps happening.
Really hits home.
Fucking happening.
For me, at least, as a big Destiny fan, and it kind of sucks, to be honest.
Yes, it does.
So we're going to talk about another round of layoffs, this time at Bungie. So I'm not 100% sure on all the details yet, because not all of the details are out. I only know what I've seen from, people like Jason Schreier or Tom Warren or, Benji Sales. Like, the reliable sources, it's still quote unquote under investigation from these guys at the time of this recording. But Monday morning, Monday the 30th, October 30th, if you're listening to this on Patreon, so last week, Bungie let go almost 100 or about 100 people, a little bit more than that. And it took everybody by surprise because obviously Destiny is Destiny. But the biggest surprise was they let go anyone, and they, anyone. Just doesn't matter if you've been there since before Halo, like, the composer who they let go, or, if you started 6 months ago. It's really, it really sucks for these people that they had no notice that layoffs were coming, and that Bungie's kind of their, what do you call it, their benefit package only lasts to the end
severance. Go ahead.
They had 3 months severance, I think. Pay
3 months severance, 3 months Cobra healthcare, which is the greatest healthcare in the entire world.
Yeah, and Bungie's like their own healthcare only lasts until the end of the month of when you're, when you leave the company. So, they had 1 day of healthcare.
Not only 1 day of healthcare, 1 day of literally any benefit they have. So expense reimbursement, you had to get all your shit in less than 24 hours. Otherwise, you wouldn't get it.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty shitty.
And then the absolute worst of it is the people who were given investment options for stocks when the Sony purchase happened. Well, guess what? They don't get it anymore. It goes right back to Bungie.
Yep.
So not only did they lose it, Bungie just fucking profited by letting these people go.
Yeah.
Because they were not able to fulfill their contracts.
Yeah. And some people were trying to figure out if they should blame Sony or if they should blame Bungie. And so there's multiple kind of reports on this where this is part of Sony's kind of financial restructuring. But who Bungie let go was up to Bungie management. And, some people think that Sony is going to replace some people from Sony, but a lot of the people that they let go, that department is going to be outsourced. And it's just really weird. They laid off almost 10% of their entire company. And
it's not the 10% that they probably should have gotten rid of.
Yeah, I mean, management. Man, there are so many people, man. I'm trying to find, I forget the composer's name, but he blah, 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 blah.
No, I understand. They fell 45% short of what they were projecting for revenue, which is a huge ass miscalculation.
Well, that's a combination of Lightfall not being very good, like the campaign of their latest expansion not being very good, plus coming out in a year where there's so many good video games that people are taking a break. And now this is going to hurt them even more, for people who play a lot of Destiny. That means this fourth and final season this year is going to last 7 months instead of 3, because this also delayed the final shape into June. This also delayed Marathon's kind of projected release date to 2025. And, a lot of people, they've had record number of canceled pre-orders because of this, which, that's whatever. Okay. These people are probably going to end up forgetting about this in 6 months and pick the game up anyway, right? Most of them. But, Liana Rupert's been there for, almost 6 or 7 years at this point. She used to work at Game Informer and went there to be their community person, to the point where she was like their main community person along with Cosmo. And I understand businesses have to make cuts sometimes. And I understand that a lot of times companies don't make the right decisions, and, it puts them in a hole, or, maybe the quality of their game isn't great, and they have to let people go because it didn't sell well.
Yeah, but you need to do it I don't know, in a way that's better than that. What was the company that let go a lot of people, but they actually gave decent severance packages?
Epic.
Epic
So,
Games.
not
Yeah.
that they're better than the other, but if you make business decisions, just make sure maybe you don't give them 24 hours to have benefits left. That's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, that was fucking.
Maybe you should
planned.
warn them that cuts are coming and just prepare yourself. First of all, that would be that would be the first start. So
and also, if you're the CEO, don't finish off lay off a whole bunch of people and say that your legacy will continue to live on in Bungie.
Yeah. And the biggest name was Michael Salvatore, who was their longtime composer, alongside Marty McDonald, who left. He got fired a while ago, but he was the other half of that team, and he's been there since Bungie was owned by Apple. So long story short, for people who want some video game history, Bungie used to be owned by Apple, and Halo was going to be a mix of a real-time strategy game and a third-person shooter for Mac, and then Microsoft.
Oh, Halo Wars.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that was part of the marketing for Halo Wars was this: we're going back to our origins of Halo. This is what we wanted initially, and obviously Ensemble made a really good console RTS, but it just really sucks to see all this. And then Michael Salvatore left a really, really nice message when he left. He said, "Don't." Because he was just look, understand this is a business. This is what happens sometimes. I know you want to scream and yell at everybody, but just support the good people that are still there, type thing. And
that's a professional right there.
Yeah.
Seriously, I would say, if I was Sony, I would get rid of Pete Parsons. Be like, this was your team, and you fell way below. Don't just get rid of the team. Get rid of the person who fucked it
Pete
up.
Parsons owns the company. It's part of the contract. If they can't fire him unless he steps down. That's part of the whole thing.
They gotta stop making contracts like this.
I know. I'm like, all right, whatever. I'll never understand corporate diplomacy.
Oh, hey, you drove the company to bankruptcy and caused a whole economic collapse, but you know what? Here's $2 billion to go find yourself another job.
Yeah, and I know Bungie's trying some unique things. I know they were trying to open a publishing arm for a while in Amsterdam, which I think that project got scrapped because Sony bought them. But they make one game, and granted, it's a massive game. And I know that obviously they have Marathon coming and 2 other projects coming, but they only make one game. Why do you need 900 people at the studio? I get that they're a very community oriented company, and their old community manager, Damage, he works at Riot now. He kind of said without saying he saw this coming last year when Sony bought them. He just knew it was coming, so he left at the end of the year and went to Riot. But it's the same thing that happened to Epic, where I think they were too ambitious and they grew too fast during COVID, because you could hire people without it costing much money, realistically, right? Interest rates were real low, and now that borrowing money's, the interest rate's super high, and keeping people on and trying to get them to come back to the office, it's I think it's just too much ambition for these projects, and I've been saying for years that they need to really refocus Destiny, and once the final shape comes out, because this is kind of the end game of Destiny, where we've been waiting for this moment for 10 years, and then we don't know what's happening after this.
See, I think that's also another problem that's going on, and that we're seeing, because of the layoffs of Epic and now Bungie, games as a service is not sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
It did great for the first 5 years, but now when you put all your eggs in that one basket, and that one basket's no longer producing,
mm-hmm.
That's it's gonna hurt. Like, they need to come up with something now to make Fortnite fresh, even though their idea is to reboot Fortnite and bring back Chapter 1.
I know.
It's kind of like when Diablo, or when Blizzard's like, what can we do to make Warcraft fresh? Let's make vanilla.
Yeah.
Back to basics, right?
Yeah. I mean, look, I know a lot of the people that play Destiny don't know this is happening, right? Because most of them are just like, we're just going to turn it on and play with our friends and go to bed, right? Like it's like a Call of Duty thing or a Madden thing, right? Where like 99% of the time, we are in the minority of seeing these things. But yeah, I think, Pat, you're right. This live service bubble is popping. And look, Destiny is 10 years old. Fortnite is 7 years old. You know, I mean, they had good runs, right? And not that they're going away. You know, they still make a lot of money, but you know, that's a long time to run one game.
Yeah, they need to be able to run like a game, maybe like 5 years, but have your backup plan. Like, get your next one working. Don't rest on the laurels of your one game.
Yeah, which I think that's what Bungie was trying to do, right, with Marathon, and you know, but all the games that are in the works for them are live service games. They're working on 3 live service games and a mobile game. You know, is that bubble going to burst before they get to those? You know,
it might. It makes you kind of wonder if Marathons is actually like could go through a revamp.
Well, here's the thing: some reports were coming out. I don't know how true this is. I just saw this before I came in here, but Bungie apparently had people testing Marathon in like some sort of pre-alpha phase, like people who are really into Tarkov and extraction shooters and stuff. And like there was something like 50 people that were testing out Marathon, and they asked how they liked the game, and nobody answered with a positive response.
Ooh.
Which is also scary. You know. Well, I don't know. Does anybody else have anything else to say about this topic? It's just sad every time. I feel like we talked about it like 3 times in the last 2 months, 4 times.
That's the thing. It's a common theme this year with the layoffs, and it's like we have one of the best years in gaming, but it's also been like one of the worst years for gaming producers.
Mm-hmm.
They come out with these amazing titles, and now they no longer have need for that team.
Mm-hmm.
Cut and push.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw a stat of something like over 8,000 employees have been laid off from the video game industry this year.
That's
which brutal. I know there's millions of studios or millions of developers and hundreds of studios, maybe thousands of studios, but still 8,000 is a large number to put out there.
Yeah.
So
the only thing I have to add is like related but not related is I was at a staff meeting and there's a new girl to the team, and I mentioned that I do a podcast, and then she's like, oh my gosh, I would love to hear your podcast. And I'm like all nervous because I'm like, oh, she doesn't know like I do geek podcasts. But then when I am off like line, she's like, yeah, my husband loves Destiny. I'm like, oh, you gotta know this guy that founded this thing. He loves Destiny and he's in a Destiny podcast. So you might have an additional Destiny Tower Casuals listener.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's man, this is going to be a rough 9 months for that show. I mean, the next couple of weeks we'll probably be talking about this, and then we'll talk about the new season's story, and then 2024 is going to be rough until June with that show.
Better start coming up with some crazy theories.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get through it. I mean, they might be shorter shows with a lot of questions, but it'll be fine. Yeah. Oh, by the way, the other thing I wanted to mention with this too is like with Sony's kind of restructuring, the rumor is that they're divesting from their live service plans that Jim Ryan started.
I think that's been confirmed. That a lot of people are saying. I think a lot of speculation has been saying Sony's trying to step back from live service now. Good.
I mean, no offense to Sony, but none of their teams know how to make live service games. I mean, Naughty Dog might be the closest with, the first Factions, but like even then that was like not presented that way. You know, it was more of like just a basic survival multiplayer game. So
yeah, did they even update factions at all?
I don't.
Basically the first thing was what they had.
I'm pretty sure it was what they had. If they updated it at all, it was like patching some stuff and balancing some stuff.
No expansions in that regard. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. So, man, I feel bad for all those studios they just kind of paid for.
Oh, well, at least they didn't invest in blockchains and NFTs, right? Right?
That we know of.
Square Enix. You're a video game company, not an investment firm.
Right. Well, our last topic, and we'll make it quick so we can get on to other things, but
one would say this is the greatest topic.
Hyperbole in video games.
All time.
How many times have you said this is my game of the year this year?
Honestly, I have not, but in my mind I did.
I meant the audience, really, but
sorry. Audience.
Yeah. It's just like every game this year I see on Twitter or Instagram or whatever other social media stuff exists today, like, oh man, Zelda game of the year. Oh, Diablo game of the year. Oh, Alan Wake 2 game of the year. And it's like, is every game your game of the year? Because that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
doesn't make sense.
After hearing it 4 or 5 times, after that, I'm like, here we go again. It makes me like take it much less seriously, even though like I acknowledge that all the games that people are crying game of the year, like they have their place. Like, yes, it's a great game that could be a contender for, but like I guess people don't like saying that like this could be a contender or not, maybe it's too many words, right, for game of the year, but it has to be all or nothing, I feel sometimes.
Yeah. It's really annoying. Like I get like, this game, I really like this game. It might be on my list. It's a really good game, right? But like saying every game is your game of the year, and this has been going on for a while too, right? Like, I mean, last year it happened, probably like the last 5 or 6 years it's probably happened, at least from what I've been paying attention, probably longer.
Question. Let's rule something out, because in non-video game world, like there's kind of like a thinking that Americans are more stereotyped and known for using hyperbole compared to like Europeans or something. Do you see in the video game world it's just any gamer, regardless if they're American or not? I don't know. I just know that Americans are kind of pegged for always using hyperbole.
Well, it's because America's the greatest nation in the entire world.
Hey.
Right.
We're very intense. We used to be. That was a long time ago.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just feel like a lot of people always are like, hey, man, what was the first game this year? Fire Emblem Engage. I heard people saying this is going to be my game. I'm like, it came out in January. Slow down, guy.
I did not hear that.
So,
yeah. I think my first game of the year was A Space for the Unbound, and that one held that title for quite a long time. I think it wasn't until Final Fantasy 16 came out that was my game of the year. So 6 months.
I think for me, at least, well, not for me, but the first that I thought of game of the year contender would be Dead Space Remake, right? Didn't that come out in like January?
You know what? That's right. That was a January title.
And then the first one for me, I believe, was Resident Evil 4 Remake. So.
Yeah. I mean, I think the first time I thought something could be a game of the year for me was Hogwarts Legacy.
Right. Oh, you're right. That was
February.
February.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Never mind. February for me. Okay, that was pretty early. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I'm like, I shouldn't say anything because Zelda's coming, obviously, and there's a lot of other games coming out, because it's only February. Maybe I should wait to see what else is coming out and if it's any good. And then obviously Zelda. I think we all thought Zelda was a lock, though, at some point. I would.
I was so hyped.
Yeah. And then, obviously Final Fantasy 16 came out, which is very divisive, but also like if you liked it, it's probably a game of the year contender for you. And Diablo and
Baldur's Gate 3.
Baldur's Gate, Spider-Man.
Yep.
Alan Wake.
What else is coming out the rest of the year?
I'm sure Mario RPG. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, even Mario Wonder, that's going to be somebody's game of the year.
Yeah.
Honestly, Mario Wonder might be my favorite Switch game of the year so far.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know anymore. They're so different, yet each one had their place.
Yeah.
That made it why it was important for me at that time.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I still think like Zelda would probably be my Nintendo game of the year at this point.
We forgot Metroid Prime.
Oh,
that was a game of the year contender too, and like one of the higher rated Metacritics this year.
Yeah. So sorry, Stephanie, I interrupted you. What were you saying?
No.
And I interrupted you.
No, it's okay. I forget.
I forget.
I forget. Oh, I was gonna say, like, do you think this plays into like our psychology as humans to like what's the phrasing? Like, they get very tribalistic, or what is it like? They need to pick a team and they need to be all gung ho about it. So like, something's either the best game of the year or the worst game of the year. I don't know.
Yeah.
Worst game of the year? That made no sense. Or does it
also now? Like, if you're like a huge PlayStation fan, you're probably going to think higher of PlayStation games than the other consoles, right? And Nintendo, obviously, and all these other consoles.
Starfield's game of the year.
Oh my gosh, Starfield! How could we forget that? You're right.
And Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah, Hi-Fi Rush was
game of the
year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think Hi-Fi
and
Rush
Redfall
might be on my top 10.
Well, Redfall, I don't know.
It may be Xbox's worst, but it was still game of the year over a Sony game, right?
Sure.
See what I did there? No.
Yeah. I
just
kidding. What you did.
I hyperbole the hyperbole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I know I've definitely done that in the past, right? But I'm trying to be way more aware of just taking it in stride and like, I mean, we do game of the year at the end of the year for a reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know. My thought was like, did you guys experience that at all? And have you guys done? I mean, had experiences with that and stuff. So that was.
I think we need to take like cooldown periods at times, because usually when we're playing something, it feels like game of the year. Like if it's really vibing with us, it feels like game of the year at that moment. Mm-hmm. I feel like Mario Wonder for me, I needed something lighthearted.
Yeah.
So when I started playing Mario Wonder, it was like, this is one of the greatest things ever.
Yeah.
And now after I'd taken a break from it, it's like, you know what? It's a very good game. Probably the strongest 2D Mario game, but is it game of the year? Maybe not.
You're right, Pat. Like that's normal, right? Because it's the newest, shiniest toy, right, that we have. And unless it's a dumpster fire, odds are we're going to find it the coolest, best thing in the moment. I think that's just kind of a basic instinct, so to speak. Maybe when I say less mature, I'm not saying those people are not mature because I do that. It's just something we acknowledge that there's a short-term feeling versus long-term, almost kind of like relationships, right? It's puppy love, and this is either the one or the best person for you. And then long-term, it's like, well, maybe not. They were real perfect because you were blinded by the honeymoon phase. And I believe pre-social media, or at least as big as it is now, we don't really get to see or hear it that much. But for me, and this is beyond game of the year discussion, this could just be anyone talking about any video game where they're like, oh, that game's dog water, it's shittiest game, if you like it, you're an idiot. Like I see like both sides and people fighting tooth and nail about how one game is either superior or one or the other. I just feel like it's too much exposure, it's too much. And I feel like social media is a big proponent of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also like especially if you come off of a game that you definitely did not like and you come back to a game that like you really love, that also probably heightens that too, you know. But
I feel like being able to look at game of the year for me, I got to look at what is something that I always went back to or could see myself going right back to again.
Yeah.
And so my game of the year might actually be a surprise. Even to myself.
So it'll be kind of like a belch or a fart. You don't really know when it's coming until it's right about to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta think long and hard. Like, is Final Fantasy 16 or is it something else? Because you don't want to make the mistake if once you say it.
Yeah, I mean,
it might get messy.
I mean, I think back to 2021, and Halo Infinite and Outriders were my games of the year, which people would laugh at you now. I mean, they might have laughed then, but Halo was awesome. I still think Halo is awesome. And Outriders was amazing, and it makes me really want to play Remnant because Remnant 2 looks like Outriders a lot.
People say Remnant 2 is a really good game.
I know. That's why I want to play.
You know what was my game of the year last year? Power Wash Simulator.
You
know why?
Because it was good.
The game was fucking cracked to me. I literally needed to go back and play it, and when it first came out, I had the shakes when I did not play it.
Oh.
And even now, when a new expansion comes out, I have to put everything else aside and play through the entirety of that new expansion. It will happen again on the 15th when Back to the Future comes out.
They have very clever expansions. I will say that. Very clever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, Power Simulator to you is like Disney Dreamlight Valley to me.
See? Exactly. And you can count that as this game.
Yeah, they're coming out with a paid expansion on December 5th. It's $20.
The game's finally it's no longer early access now. It's hitting 1.0.
It's hitting 1.0 this week, I think.
So there you go. That could be your game of the year. It came out this year.
I know. It might be.
Mm-hmm.
It might be. Oh.
Thankfully, I don't think I have that kind of addictive game yet. I wonder what that game would be someday.
Sometimes.
I believe that you will find that game someday, Stephanie.
Really? Yeah. You think there's one out there for me?
There's a game out there for everyone, Steph.
Okay.
You just have to wait and find it. It might not even be made yet.
Got it. Okay.
But it'll be out there.
I will be faithful. I will save myself for that game.
God. All right. Well, I think that's a good place to end it. Jeez. All right. So I want to... Jeez. I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening to this episode of the Boss Rush Podcast. You can find new episodes every Monday. Check out our Patreon if you want to support us. For only $1, you can get a lot of stuff early access, and your support helps very much. Very, very much.
Oh, yeah, $1. That's like a fraction of a grande Starbucks latte.
Yeah, you probably have that in coins lying around in your house.
Yeah.
So, well, Pat, Stephanie, thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Boss man.
Yeah.
Good topics. Fun conversation.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about here.
Yes, it is. I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening. And until next time, we love you. Goodbye.
Bye.
If you want to be a Patreon producer, head on over to Patreon, patreon.com/BossRushMedia, and find out which tier is right for you. Our Patreon producers at the $5 tier or higher for this month are Adriel Munger, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dierig, Francisco Santillan, and Rebecca Jewell. Thank you for your continued support.